Welcome everybody, share number 918. We're learning today Le'ilei Nishmas Moshe Dov Ben Rabbi Zisel, Le'ilei Nishmas Blima Bas Rav Moshe. Getting back to our halacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, we took a little break last year. We went through some important inyanim. Now getting back to MAKEH B'PATISH, we started talking about the gezeros midrabanan, decrees that Chazal made in reference to MAKEH B'PATISH, whereby there was a problem where they felt that one might come to be over MAKEH B'PATISH. So we started talking about the isurim of playing music on Shabbos, nothing to do with the electricity, but just in general, banging a rhythm, banging a beat, using items that actually are made to make noise, certain noise makers, which we'll get a little bit more into it. There was, Chazal felt that it might come to fixing instruments. Okay, be it as it may, and we spoke a little bit last year about there's a Ramah that says if it's a kli miyuchad lekach, in other words, if it's a kli that's to make sounds, make noise. Again, there's no electricity involved. It's just simply a kli, like a bell type of a thing, a rattle, these type of things, which we'll talk more about how that works. But if it's made to make noise, even though no electricity involved, it would still be also to use on Shabbos. So in general. Now, the question was, and we established the fact that how the only way one can make noise, if they're not playing a rhythm, they're not banging a rhythm. But if they want to just, let's say, for example, bang on a glass or bang on the table or something to get people's attention, right? People are talking, somebody has to give a drasha, whatever, they want to bang on the table or something to get people's attention. So that we said was no problem. So the question comes up, an interesting shaila, which we all see many times. What about the bells? You have many times we said we don't use bells. We're not going to use bells. A bell is made. These little bells or big bells are made to make sounds, not so much to make music, but to make sounds. But many times in many shuls, you have the crown on a Sefer Torah. They have the special metal, silver type of a crown that they put on top of a Sefer Torah, and many of them have bells. Many of these crowns have bells on them. And thereby, when the Sefer Torah is moving, when the person's carrying them, you actually hear the bell making sound. So the question is one allowed to use it? So, not so much is one allowed to use it, but how do we use it when we see it in shuls? Okay, so Lamaisa, make a long story short, the Mishnah Berurah brings down in Sif Katan, again in our Simon is Simon Shin, Lamed Ches, Sif Katan Vav, he brings from the Taz, first of all in Yeredeya, the Taz Taka holds that it's also Litlois B'Shabbos, Oisina Pereiches, those type of Pereiches, coverings in front of the Aron Kodesh and so on, or maybe the bells on the Sefer Torah, Sheyesh Behem Pamoinim, that Taka have these little type of bells, lashmiya kol, because it's made to hear the voice. In other words, it's made to make sound, and it's made that people should hear it. Because Aron, when they open up the Aron Kodesh and so on. Again, it could be on the Sefer Torah, it could be on the Aron Kodesh. Chaim shall Sefer Torah says also the ones on the Sefer Torah. So whether it's on the Aron Kodesh, the opening the curtains, or it's the little bells on the crowns of the Sefer Torah, the Taz holds that should not be done. Because the bottom line is it's made to make sound. So then the Mishnah Berurah brings a shach. He says the shach argues. No, the shach sham chalik. Over there in Yeredeya, as we know, everybody knows in Yeredeya you have the Taz and the shach. So the shach comes along and says, no, it's no problem. Sham chalik alav the shach sham chalik alav mitam da kaimelan l'tzarich mitzvah is shari. When it comes to a tzarich mitzvah, it would be allowed. Now, we have to see that it's not every single time for a tzarech mitzvah. If I want to play a beat on the table for Zemiris, that's also a type of a mitzvah. But not every tzarech mitzvah is mutter. We have to see how this works. But the Taz says in this situation, the Shach says in this situation it's mutter. So he says, just like we see on Simchas Torah, for example, we're going to talk about clapping, but the clapping on Simchas Torah for sure is okay. Dancing and all these things when it comes to Simchas Torah is covered HaTorah. When we're dealing with a higher level of a mitzvah, when it's really covered HaTorah, says the Shach, so then that would be okay. Even though you have these bells that Ataka made to make noise. So he says, "V'hachinami mitzvah tzarechu kadesh yishmu am v'yakumu." It's more than the fact that it's just for a mitzvah, but it's that the people will hear the bells. As we know, there's a halacha when the Sefer Torah is moving, when somebody's carrying the Sefer Torah, you have to stand. You have to stand up. When somebody takes a Sefer Torah, whether they bring it back to Aron Kodesh or bring it to the bima, a person has to stand, as long as they're able to physically, obviously. But so these bells are made so that people could hear the Sefer Torah moving and they'll know to stand up. Oh, so then he brings as a Mishabura Shar Ephraim that says L'chatchila one should not do it. Okay, bottom line is Mishabura ends off of V'koimas shenagu heter, those who taka do it. Kedasa Magen Avram, like the Magen Avram. Apparently the Magen Avram also says that Ein lemchas b'yadam. Leave them. This is a minig. People who have this minig, the shuls that have this minig, this is what is done, and this is fine. Lamaisa, bottom line, it's Kavod Torah being even a higher level of a mitzvah. So the Sefer Eitzer Halachos brings down in Siman Reish Pei Beis, which is not what we're learning right now, but talks about various different halachas in reference to laning on Shabbos and so on, the Sefer Torah. Okay, we're not going to get into it right now, but he brings amongst those halachas that Lamaisa Yesh in Siman Reish Pei Beis, Oistes, he says that Yeshnoi Hagim Litlois Pamainim. There are those who have such a minig to hang the bells and the crown with the bells. I know by us we have it in shul also. Shemetarim Sefer Torah Kedei Leida Al Zek Ki Nois Im HaSefer Torah Tzrichim Lamei, that people should know when the Sefer Torah is moving and it's being carried, then people have to stand up. Umuter later Sefer Torah b'pa'amayim gam b'Shabbos v'chein halbish alav keser. It's on. Sometimes it's the bells itself. Sometimes it's on the crown, and so on. Okay, so Lemaisa he brings that. So we saw the Taz who says that one should not do it, but the Lemaisa he brings many major achronim, like we saw, who say it's mutter. You have the Shach, you have the Magen Avram. He also brings it from the Shulchan Aruch Harav, who says it's mutter. Mishabur, it's mashma like that also. Which Mishabur we saw the Mekaymis shenagu het in them chas. Now, Hitaka brings at the end, which the Mishabur Dirshu also brings it like that, and he brings its mashma from Rishlam Zalman Orbach Tzadok V'Recha also, but he brings also from the Shevet HaLevi, Shaz Shuvas Shevet HaLevi, that and again the Dirshu brings it like that also. The Hainu Dafka B'Hamonim Gedolim. That which they said, which the Taz says that it's a problem, he's talking about those large type of bells. This is how the Shevet HaLevi learns it. Dafka the large bells. These small bells that we have, that are on top of the crown or in the crown of that we have today, these small little bells, you don't hear it at all. You hear a little bit of shaking here and there. The problem was when the bigger bells, I'm not quite sure. I've never really seen the bigger bells, but these little bells that are on the crowns of the Sefer Torah, these silver crowns that many shuls have, he says that's bechlal not a problem. And it's not even so much for the noise. We said it's for the noise, like this people will know and they'll be able to stand up. He says the Shevet Levi that it's more than that. It's not even so much for the noise, but it's just stam for the niceness of the Torah, for Kavod Torah, to make it nice. He put a silver crown on top of it, and it's not even so much for the noise. And he wants to say mutter l'kuli alma, that even the kuli alma, according to everybody, this will be okay. That not like the in other words, those who asked it, Taz and others, they're talking about a different type of bell, a bigger bell. So he wants to say this would be no problem even according to everybody. Reb Shlomo Zalman also comes out something like that, a little bit. He blibes at Sarachin, but be it as it may, just to end off the shir l'maisa, we see even though in general bells is not supposed to be using bells on Shabbos, to take like these hand bells and shake it and stuff like that. That we don't do. But when it comes to Kavod Torah, when it comes to the Sefer Torah, that many shuls do have these crowns with these bells up on top of it, and it shakes and it makes noise and so on. It's Kavod Torah, and even like we saw in Shevet HaLevi, it's lenoi, it's mamash to beautify the Sefer Torah, and lemaisa in general. Those shuls that have the minig is definitely many, quite a number of major achronim say it's perfectly fine. It would be no problem. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and bracha, kol tov.